Hey guys, and welcome to Little Black Book 91. We're talking to you guys about Love is Blind. Little Black Book, you know what time it is. Season 5 is here. Are you crazy? You dumb? Listen, episode 1, we're talking to you guys about Lydia and talking obviously about Aliyah's situation. Let me play a little bit of the clip and let's get the conversation flowing.
We want for you. Is this the guy that you really want to marry? A guy who's going to judge you this easily? And I don't want to say this. You're so like me that I could see this happening.
Yeah. Listen, let me be real with you and let's keep it frank and keep it honest. You know what? The crazy thing is about, let me just hold on for 2 seconds, guys. Let me just turn this down. The crazy thing about the situation with Aliyah and Lydia is Lydia's still hurting for the fact that Izzy rejected her. So she's now projecting onto Aliyah about her situation. Now, don't get it twisted. I'm going to break down the whole Uchi and Aliyah situation all the way down. But the reality of the situation is, look, part of what Aliyah did, first of all, where was the tears? Because they weren't there. And number 2, when you do cheat, when you tell the story, sis, tell the story like you've learned something. It didn't sound like you learned. So I understand why Uchi was trying to protect himself. But I also get that he was a little bit harsh with it when he said it. We're going to discuss it. And then the advice that Lydia was given, she was projecting what happened with Izzy. You're like me. You know, I can see that if he's going to judge you, I think, I'm going to judge you because you told me you cheated. And you didn't tell the person that you cheated. So why am I not going to judge? Of course I'm going to judge. You know what I mean? But we're going to discuss the bad advice in this episode as well. So if you're new to the channel, do me a massive favor, like it, share, subscribe, click on that bell button for notification of uploads, and return this a little bit up there. And for those of you who are returnees, you already know what it is, baby. You got the minerals. You got the minerals. Stay hydrated because the streets out there are hot. Listen, let's get into the video. But don't forget, guys, we are trying to get to 100K by the end of the year. I believe that you guys are going to help me do that and help me get this plaque that I've been waiting to get. You know what I mean? So I can put it behind me on a wall. Listen, it's crazy. It's crazy. All right. And if you haven't done so already, join our membership. It's £1. It's $1. And you get the exclusive perks with membership only lives. And if you haven't done so as well, join our Patreon. Yep. Because you see, our Patreon allows you to have conversations with other people who love talking about TV shows. We're trying to build a community in that space too. All right. So make sure you guys like, share, subscribe, click on that bell button. Let's get into the video and let's discuss a little bit more about this bad advice that I feel that, old sis was given.
I'm pretty sure you told him all the truth. You gave him details, didn't you? Telling Uche the truth was not a mistake.
Absolutely.
He does not get to judge you. Look at me. He does not get to judge you. He has his own thing.
Now, let's talk about the two things. First of all, listen, look, I mean, the word judging is going to be an issue because it's going to create an ideology or thought process straight away. The reality is when you tell me something, I'm going to judge. I am going to assess whether this works for me or not. Now, you told a story, volunteered. Well, he asked you a question, have you ever cheated before? You then volunteered a story on national freaking TV that you cheated on your boyfriend and you haven't even told him. Do you know how much embarrassment that is? No. See, we always talk about men and their audacity. We always talk about men and their freaking bad behavior. But the reality is, let's break this down a little bit further. When women like Aliyah cheat, they're only concerned about their good moral and good reputation. That's why she never told him. She never told him because she didn't want to have to face her front and be like, you know what, I made a mistake. I've done bad. But then you preface it by saying, you know what, because, I wasn't being satisfied for 2 years and he wasn't listening to me, I ended up cheating. All right, cool. Well, you've cheated now. You haven't told him. You've told us on national television. His boys are going to be freaking laughing at him because, I will, right? You're going to be freaking laughing at him forever. He's now going to know through national freaking television. Now, maybe you told him after you filmed this. I don't know. But in reality, for us as an audience, it looks like you just now told him. Do you know how brazy that is? And then you have the cheek to sit in front of my screen and pretend you're and not one tear came out your eye. Are you nuts? Don't think you can play me. And you're trying to pull at the sympathy though. It's manipulation. And that's why I said that you haven't come to terms with the fact you cheated. You haven't come to terms with the fact that you're not just a bad person, that you've done a bad thing. It's okay. Like, it's not that you're a bad person. You've done a bad thing. Own up to it. Stand in front of it. But these fake tears to make us feel sympathy, I feel like I've lost it. You ain't lost nothing. You know that already, first and foremost. Okay, maybe you have lost and we don't know. But you know already yourself that those tears are to manipulate us to make her feel sorry for you. I don't feel sorry for you. I've cheated before and I had to stand on it, right? And I've also lied before. And I also didn't tell the person either at the time. So I know exactly what it is. It's not about them. It's about you. You don't want to face the truth. You don't want to face your front. That's exactly what Uche was trying to tell you. And you will come into that realization. And before he can finish off his point and say to you, but you know what, I appreciate you telling me, thank you for being honest, you'd already walked out of the room. You haven't faced your own issue. Now, I'll deal with that more in a second. The bad advice, let's come to it, because this was it just started getting stupid at this point.
Thing that he needs to resolve. Believe me when I say this. If he doesn't have the capacity, as smart as he is, to put things aside, that's on him. He needs to resolve those traumas. He needs to figure out what the fuck he does really want. He needs to stop blaming others and stop taking accountability for his actions.
Now, unless we miss something, unless we literally miss something and the show's not showing us something, what is he taking accountability for? That's when I said this is bad advice. Unless the show has cut out something and we don't know, what is he taking accountability for? Please tell me. Why would he need to be accountable? Did he tell you that he cheated? Now, the only thing I'll say is, and I'll do that on a second video, but what are you trying to hold him accountable for? This gaslighting, this flipping the tables on his head to make your girl feel better without telling the actual truth. The truth of the matter is this: you told somebody the truth, you give them the option to choose. That person has spoken it in a tone that makes it feel like it's over. It's not, because you have to have another conversation, right? But don't try to flip the table and be like, he needs to deal with his traumas. He's the one that needs to. We didn't get privy to that conversation. So less is more. We were not privy to the conversation about him needing to fix his traumas or anything like that. He asked a simple question and she cheated. Now, maybe the way he questioned it a little bit, I can understand, right? But you know, to flip the table onto him that he's a problem, I'm like, no, even Aliyah's not even really a problem, apart from the fact I don't think she's really owned her cheating. But yeah, that's another story.
You're better. You're so much better. And I know this because I see myself in you. Look at me. Look at me. And he might have a blind spot because you're me. You are so much like me.
And I know that other girls looking at like, what the frick? I have a blind spot. So, you know, you're so much like me. Yeah. And that's why you're projecting. Because you're projecting this moment saying you're just like me, and so I'm giving advice to me. But the reality is, you also had a little trip. Now I'll come on to old girl Lydia in a second too. Because when old boy told you that, listen, it's not going to work between you and him, you got a little bit snipey towards the end. And that told me a little bit about you as well, about how you deal with rejection. And you then started crying and all that stuff. I was like, it's too much. This is why men don't want to talk to women and tell them that we're not interested, because this is what we experience, right? And when we tell you experiences, like, oh my God, men can't handle the truth. We have seen that you can't handle the truth. Is it really men? You know, so no, but you know, the advice she's giving here, you know, even here, it's she's projecting in this moment. She's giving advice that she was in this moment herself. And the trouble with that is, you're not in this moment. You were in a different moment. You're with Izzy. It's completely different, right? Completely different. Let's play a bit more.
You and I are so similar. Believe me. Believe me. And that might be it.
I got a secret. How can you tell?
I don't know what kind of advice she's giving, man. But when you flip the tables onto the man is the issue, because he questioned you, and the question he gave was really good, right? And I'll do that in part 2. But for me personally, this is how people keep people single, right? Rather than being honest with her, what did you actually say to him? Okay, give me the play-by-play. How did you say this? Okay, all right. Have you actually come to terms with the cheating that you've done? Right? Up until now, 2 years later, you still haven't admitted it. Why haven't you admitted it? Why is that not your line of questioning? You just believe that she's great because she told you that, you know, I'm sorry for what I did. No, the question is to delve deeper, right? And to understand. Now, I'm not going to say that Uche doesn't have his issues. I don't know. They didn't show us that in episode 1, but I'm not gonna put my bets and hedges on any man or woman in this world. But for you to change the narrative like that, that's scary for me. Rather than actually just holding your girl accountable, that she told a story, that where she told a story, she has to finally come to terms that it wasn't for him that she was trying to protect. She was protecting herself, which means it was a selfish move again. And he was right that she wasn't honest. When I cheated, was not honest. I was not an honest person when I didn't tell the person I cheated at the time either. I thought, you know what? I'm going to be sneaky about it. They're never going to know. What's the point of actually you know, interrupting their life when really it's about me? I should have told them, but I didn't want to. because I cared about me. I didn't want to look like the bad guy. I didn't want to look like a bad person. And that's what I'm seeing for Aliyah. The whole time she's telling the story, she wants it to be like, I'm not a bad person. You're not. But you've done some bad things. And you have to be held accountable for it. And sometimes that account could be that you may lose a person you just told a story to, because they're listening, going, hold on. And the slowness to give the answer told me that you haven't really reasoned this. You haven't really gone through this. You haven't really been questioned and checked on this. You get to tell the story in your narrative without anybody questioning you. This is the first day Uchi did it. But anyway, like, share, subscribe, click on the bell button for notification uploads. I mean, let me know your thoughts down below. Do you think Lydia was giving bad advice? I think it was actually deadly advice. It was really bad. She flipped the whole table on somebody. For me, it's bad advice. And that's how people keep people single. And I need Aliyah to stop crying, because it's not real. There was no tears. Not once did I see a tear. Not once did I see a tear. Even the eyes weren't even watery.